This is Sportscaster News. I'm Lawrence Owen. With me here to my side here is my boy Ray Rauth. And we got some news for all of you. Oh my goodness. Running backs this year are all getting paid. It's just throwing money to everybody. Heck with it. If you're a running back and you're near the end of your contract, all you've got to do is say, I'm not going to play until I get paid, and you're guaranteed to get paid, or at least that's what it looks like to me. Ray, apparently Dalvin Cook earlier this offseason, as we reported, straight up said, I'm not going to play I'll come to training camp. I'll practice with everybody, but I'm not playing a single down of football unless I get a new contract. And he got it. 5 years, $63 million, and $28 million guaranteed. What's your thoughts, my guy?
We're talking about Dalvin. We're probably going to talk about, I'm assuming, Kamara as well. To be honest with you, both those teams needed to make those moves for various reasons. Now, the Saints have more talent than Minnesota, so I'll leave that one for a moment. But the Saints lost Stefon Diggs this year when they traded him away to the Buffalo Bills. It's been a nightmare of a situation for them there. Kirk Cousins, in my opinion, at least, is one of the more overrated quarterbacks in the NFL. Now, is he awful? No, I'm not going to say he's an awful quarterback, but do I believe that Kirk Cousins can pick a team up on his back and win a Super Bowl on his own? Absolutely not. I always point back to the year that he signed with Minnesota and Alex Smith went to Washington, and Washington was on pace to make the playoffs with the same team that Kirk Cousins couldn't get past 5 wins until Alex, had that unfortunate catastrophic leg injury. So would it have happened? We'll never know the deal, but they were on pace to get there at that moment. Dalvin Cook is going to be instrumental into Minnesota's offense this year. Why did it take until now? I think that Minnesota said, let's look at camp and let's see if we really need Dalvin Cook. Do we really need the run game? Do we really need his involvement? I think they watched camp. I think they realized what they lost in probably one of the top 10 receivers in the NFL when they lost Stefon Diggs. And I think there was an OS moment, oh shoot, we'll say, when they turned around and said, we do need him and they need to get paid. Obviously, I think a lot of guys are looking for their payments now because the cap is going to drop next year and they're not going to take losing revenue as an excuse for not getting paid. That's why we've seen a lot of guys get paid this year. I mean, when we start listing all the running backs who got paid this year, it's insane. I also think it tells us that the NFL, even though it's still a passing league, I think that teams are starting to see the importance of the run game. There came a time when the run game wasn't seen as important, and I know guys like our colleague Joe Newbo thinks that running backs are a dime a dozen. But I challenge him to go draft another Dalvin Cook or Alvin Kamara or Ezekiel Elliott. Go find me those guys. Go find me another Saquon Barkley or Christian McCaffrey. Yes, there's guys in the league are like that, but you know how many running backs are drafted a year that don't even make practice squads? These guys don't grow on trees. Starting running backs don't grow on trees. Because if you took that analogy, well, just go find another quarterback. Every year you draft, some team drafts a Joe Burrow or something like that. Just, if Lamar Jackson wants to get paid, just go find another quarterback. I don't understand why we put so much importance on one position and on the other position when they're all equally important. And I think that we'll start seeing a shift. I'll never forget when I was listening to Pat McAfee about 3 months ago, and he was talking about the salary cap. This is obviously pre-COVID. And at this time, there was a talk that the salary cap was going to jump significantly last season, not drop significantly. And he said, I don't see why it matters when the salary cap goes up. All that means is more money for quarterbacks. You know what I mean? That the money's still going to be distributed the exact same for everybody else. But no, I think Minnesota, the same way the Saints needed to with Kamara for different reasons, I think they needed to make this. They needed to do this. When you commit yourself to Kirk Cousins and you get away your best receiver, you're forced to have to rely on your running game. And look, there's no Dalvin Cooks waiting in the wings.
All right, so you did touch a little on the Alvin Kamara, and his contract was significantly bigger, but less in the guaranteed. He also got a 5-year contract, but it's $75 million a year, so that's 15 mil a year rather than like 12.6. But he only gets $15 million in signing bonus, whereas Cook has a 5-year, $63 million. So, like I said, much less overall, but he gets $28 million guaranteed. When you look at those contracts, which one do you think is better for the player themselves? Which one do you think you're like, wow, that actually looks really good? Because you could look at it as like Dalvin Cook's only played 29 games, right? Yeah. That's not even 2 full seasons. And yet he's getting $28 million guaranteed, but he's got a lot less top-end money, whereas Alvin Kamara has a lot more top-end money, but a lot less in the signing bonus. It kind of tells me that, Cook wanted that guaranteed and less top-end because, let's face it, he's had problems with injury issues. Do you think that might be the case?
Yeah, I mean, if you really look at it from a running back perspective, it was a very similar to a Kirk Cousins contract, right? Kirk Cousins on his new deal took less money than he probably could have garnered from them, but for more guaranteed money. Mm-hmm. I'm expecting more players going forward to make deals like this, where maybe they're taking 2-3 million less a year, but adding more guaranteed money. Because I think Kamara's only guaranteed 15 million a year, right? Mm-hmm. Or something, or
15 million total.
Sorry, 15 total. Yeah. I mean, that's stupid money when you put it in perspective. But for a football player, I mean, 15 million is a year's salary for a guy like Kamara. You know what I mean? It's and we talk about lifestyles and how you do things. I think that for a guy like Dalvin Cook, it's a better contract for him because he can't stay healthy, right? Because when he's out, he's leaving money sitting on the table every game that he misses, or every game he's on the RI, or every day he's got a treatment day, he's leaving money on the table. Now, I was reading a little bit more about these deals before we came on, and Kamara's deal too has a little bit more incentive heavy as well. So he's got an opportunity to make even more money from incentives. I think the difference is between the guaranteed money and the money like Kamara and having incentive laden is Kamara bet on himself, and Dalvin Cook said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to stay healthy, so give me the money so I can take care of my family and do my thing. So, I think if Kamara wanted guaranteed money, he could have got it. So I think that they're both equally good deals, but if I had to pick one for myself, I would take Dalvin Cook because I'd want that guaranteed pocket cash. I'd like to know that I could blow my knee out and end my career tomorrow and still have $28 million coming to me.
That is true. But when you're looking, you're moving forward. Let's say you're a GM for a football team, and you got a running back that's wanting $13 to $16 million a year, and you've got other especially let's say on the offensive line, you got offensive linemen that are definitely needing money, and if you give the big money to your running back, that offensive lineman might have to take less or have to move on from him. Which way would you go if you had that situation? Would you lean more heavy towards the offensive lineman, or would you lean more heavy to a running back who can make things happen even if the offensive line isn't as good as what it possibly could be? You're still here? Awesome. Thanks for watching this stream. Please, if you have a moment of your time, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel so you're notified next time I go live. And if you got a few extra seconds, hit that description down there below the video and check out all the places that you can follow me, whether it be Sportscaster here on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and there's a couple places where you can help donate to my channel. That way I can continue to bring all this content to you. Thank you for your support. Now, let's get back to the video.
It would be situational. So can I compare both those teams again?
Sure.
If I was Minnesota, I wouldn't be investing all my money into a running back. I know I've got a quarterback for a little while. I would say, Dalvin, this is what we can pay you. If you don't like it, tough. We'll try to find a trade partner for you. Because I need to invest into my offensive line. I know they've got big money into 2 tight ends right now. They're going to have to put money into receiver at some point. And then their defense is, a lot of them are coming up and are going to demand a lot of big money. So I wouldn't have done it. If I'm the Saints, I make this move 10 times out of 10 because this could be your last year with Drew Brees. You don't know if Jameis Winston can step up and do it for you next year. You don't know if the Saints are, going to be as competitive this year as they were next year. You have it. I think you bite the bullet, you pay them knowing, hey, I might have to go through a rebuild for a couple seasons and I'm paying a running back a lot of money, but I'm not spending money in other places because I'm getting draft picks. Breeze has pretty much said, this is it. You know what I mean? Like, let's take one more shot. I don't think they could look. I think they looked at the Kamara situation. I wouldn't be surprised if Drew Brees was there going, you can't lose him. You know what I mean? On my final season, let's make the push. So, again, I think it all depends where you are as a franchise. If I'm the Indianapolis Colts, who are just starting my run, I'm at the end of my rebuild, I'm ready to move forward, I'm not investing huge money into a running back. You know what I mean? But if I'm the Saints or I'm the Patriots, who are probably, kind of at the tail end of what they've had, then I'm investing into whatever position I need to invest in at that time to make sure that I'm successful.
See, I got a kind of different thing when it came to the Indianapolis Colts. I'm thinking with them, they have 2 running backs right now. One of them, obviously, on the tail end of their contract. He's going to get paid by somebody at some point. Maybe not $12, $15 million, but he's going to get paid somewhere probably in the ranges of 6 to 10, right? And if he would take 6 to 8 to stay with Indianapolis, I think that would be a huge move for Indianapolis because when you got Jonathan Taylor there, you would have 2 very, very good running backs on the contract of 1. And I think that would be something that the Colts could really take advantage of over a course of 3 years. If you're paying $8 million for 2 very good running backs, basically per year for 3 or 4 years, I think you jump on that every day because you're extending the health and the playability because, they're not taking as many snaps over the course of a season. So at the end of the season, I think they both are still very, very fresh and can really take on more responsibility towards the end of the season.
I agree. If you can get a running back for that 6 to 8, I'd pay both my running backs 6 to 8 because you're getting 2 solid positional players at $6 to $8 million. I wouldn't have one at 12.5 and one at 6 though.
No, I agree there.
And, and the thing is, when you talk about the running back position, I know some people, sorry, I'm talking to you and I have my eye on European football right now as we talk. When you think about the running back position, there's a lot of disrespect for the position, right? And it's important to have those kind of players. Joe says a running back's a dime a dozen. Well, LeGarrette Blount is probably a dime a dozen quarterback or running back. He would never be ever a top 50 in anybody's mind of all time. I'm sure you can name 49 or 50 other running backs who are better than LeGarrette Blount. But the Patriots running game suffered huge in 2017 compared to 16 when he left to go play for Philadelphia. Even though the Patriots were a primarily passing team, you're a Colts fan, you know exactly what LeGarrette Blount can do to a team when you're against a weaker running defense like that. We didn't have that, and we still haven't since that day had that power back who can just blow through the line and pick you up 8 hard yards or 6 hard yards or 10 hard yards. I would have paid him the $5 or $6 million that he wanted. Belichick elected not to. Belichick can do as he pleases. They went to another Super Bowl and won one. Who am I to, question the hoodie? But it was a big impact on the team. So yeah, again, I think it all comes down to, and then you have generational running backs: Ezekiel Elliott, Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey. Those are guys. They're going to demand big money. They're going to get big money. You got to make the decision: is the big money on my team or another team? Maybe Jerry Jones did it wrong by signing his receiver and running back before his quarterback, but when you look at Christian McCaffrey, what else could Carolina do? But in the same time, they have handcuffed themselves a little bit. If they do start making a run, if Teddy Bridgewater does perform to expectation, which isn't going to be Cam Newton-like, but it should be better than what they've had, do they get to a point where it's, man, all we're missing is a big free agent or a big trade, and all of a sudden they look at their money and there's a lot of money tied into Christian McCaffrey, right? And do they regret it there? And then Saquon Barkley, but at the same time, Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey are probably the only two guys in the league you give them what they want, because somebody else will, and they'll burn you. And
especially when you are both those teams' offense. I mean, completely, right?
Yes.
You got to pay. If you are the offense, you pay the offense, and they are the offense of both their teams. So,
absolutely. So, I mean, you make it. And again, with the Saints, I think it's, the Saints probably aren't going to be great next year. They'll probably be good, but they're not going to be great. And I think too, with the loyalty that Drew Brees has showed New Orleans, unlike Tom Brady, who just wanted to change and wanted to go play for somebody else, the loyalty that he showed Sean Payton and that organization, I think you had to make sure Kamara was playing for you this year, just to give him every possible opportunity. The last thing you'd want to do is lose in the first round of the playoffs again and think, man, an extra 50 rushing yards could have made the difference, or him coming out and he's been out of the backfield, or him coming out of the backfield. One of the more underrated moves that I think kind of got lost just with the way the week is kind of wrapped up is Leonard Fournette to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And to me, like, that was the missing piece on that offense, right? I mean, wow, that and the offensive line. I know it's gotten better. It's not great yet, but when you now have the option to throw a guy who has downfield speed, who can come out of the backfield and make catches, I mean, like, F you, Brady. It's that's kind of where I sit with paying a running back. It all depends on the situation you're in and where your team is headed in the next 5 to 10 or 4 to 5 years.
So who gets paid in Denver?
Well, I think it's receivers, right? Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the good news about them is they're young. So they're not in a situation yet where they're all going to come up at the same time. But I'm trying to think,
I'm talking running back wise. I mean, you got Philip Lindsay and Melvin Gordon that are going to need extensions soon.
But I think Philip Lindsay is the future. Melvin Gordon is, I don't want to call him the stopgap, but I think he was the go for it this year. I think that was John Elway saying, we're good enough, you know what I mean, to make a run, and let's bring in a guy like Melvin Gordon. I think Lindsay's the guy who gets the extension from a running back standpoint.
Even if I think Gordon is the listed on the depth chart as the number 1 running back. What if Gordon blows up?
Yeah, you know what? He could do that. But again, I think that Denver's in a situation where, we've had a lot of talks that we think, I think Denver's going to be the most improved team this year, but I don't think that they're going to win the Super Bowl this year. They're not even there yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're still another draft, maybe 2 drafts away from being that, that sort of what I call 3-year window for most teams where they're, absolutely dominant.
Especially after the loss of injuries to both their pass rushers,
Yeah, which is going to hurt them drastically. Let's put it this way. I drafted the Denver defense in the 12th round of my fantasy draft, and I just traded them for the Packers. You know what I mean? Because the pass rush is gone in my eyes. So I don't think they need to make that move now. And if Gordon turns around and says, I want huge money, I'd say, okay, go somewhere else. You know what I mean? Because Lindsay's the future. We're building this nucleus together. I mean, I love this Denver team. I know I'm digressing here, but you got Lindsay, you got what's his name?
Cortland
Sutton. You got Drew Lock. You got Noah Fant. You just drafted Buddy there out of the draft. You know what I mean? Like this offense, and they're all growing up together. You know what I mean? Like Cortland's like a 3rd-year player. coming in with a rookie, coming in with a second-year quarterback, coming in with a second-year tight end. Like, this is a core that you could keep together for a long time. I wouldn't allow as a GM a guy like Melvin Gordon to get in the way of keeping my core together.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, the draft, Jerry Jeudy was rated by most analysts, I believe, as the number one wide receiver in the draft. And, they grabbed him up as the third receiver drafted. So, they kind of fell into that one. Their offense looks really, if Drew Lock can step up, it'd be an impressive offense. I do agree. But as you said, we were digressing. It's just that question that came to mind because you had two running backs needing a contract at the time. So I guess we pretty much covered our feelings on both these guys' contract extensions. I was surprised by Kamara's a little bit, but in the end, last time we talked about Kamara when he said he wanted a contract extension, you kind of showed me everything and how I've turned you around a little bit. You turned me around on that one. So I will admit that. Now when it comes to Cook, I didn't expect him to get no $15 million a year. I did not. I figure closer to 12, and that's more like what he got just because of his injury history. That's exactly what it was. He has yet to prove that he can hold a full season and not get injured, right?
The guaranteed money is what shocked me about his contract. The $12 million, no, I think you, me, and Joe all agreed. No, Joe didn't agree. He doesn't like $12 million, but you and I agreed $12 million was the price for him. But this is a big risk by Minnesota. I know you had to sign him and give him that money to keep him, but the guarantee is huge. I would have almost offered him more money and not put the guarantee. And I mean, obviously, we wouldn't have known that. We would have been dissecting this a different way. But yeah, it was the guaranteed money for a guy who I don't think has played a full season in his whole career, right?
Yep, correct. And if I remember right, both the Saints and the Vikings are kind of low on the cap space, so they're kind of putting their money right there, and they're betting on this year, I think, both teams.
Okay, so I'll ask you this question then. They both made the bet on their running backs. Mm-hmm. When you look at both teams, all three, not just offense, but all three phases of the game, who's got the better chance of winning the Super Bowl this year, the Saints or the Vikings?
Oh, the Saints.
Yeah, and that's me too. It's the Saints easy.
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping to say the Vikings we could have an argument, but it's but I'm also happy you're smart.
I do like the Saints. I think the Vikings. I like certain aspects of the Vikings, right? They're going to have to pay. I don't know if they even paid Ngabwe, did they? Or was that? No, that's Rams.
That's Rams. I mean, they've got a lot of money invested into I don't know, positions you don't normally do it with, right? Like,
right.
They've got a lot of money invested at tight end, a lot of money invested at running back, very, very little money invested at quarterback. They just gave him a lot of guarantee. But listen, to me, Minnesota has not done a great job building this roster. They got a bunch, sometimes you can't just take a bunch of good players and put them all on the same team and hope for them to win, right? You have to, I go back to the, Herb Brooks, the miracle on ice coach, right? I don't need the best players. I need the right players. Where I look at Sean Payton, okay, Michael Thomas is a bit of a crybaby, but, Michael Thomas, Kamara, Cooks, and Drew Brees, to me, like, that's the right nucleus to play around if you're, and plus a pretty good defense in New Orleans as well. You know what I mean? So to me, it's like, are there better wide receivers than Michael Thomas? He'll say no. I say absolutely. There's better receivers than Michael Thomas. Are there better running backs than Kamara? Absolutely. Are there better quarterbacks than Brees? Absolutely. But the four of them together, I think, is the perfect nucleus of players to really cause a lot of damage. Plus, they have a good supporting cast around them as well. But those are just the big four.
Yeah, they work well together, right?
Yeah.
That's the big thing. They all have a really good feel for each other. They work well with each other. They trusted each other on the field. And that's what makes a team go, especially on offense.
Absolutely.
All right. So I want to thank you, Ray, for joining me here on Sportscaster to talk about the Dalvin Cook and Alvin Kamara contract extensions, monster monies here. And until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen with Ray Rauth. Have a good one.
Yeah.
Just because a player's not a household name doesn't mean we can't make him a household name.